Everyone, I just did a video a little earlier, kind of trying to touch on like what my thoughts have been during the unfoldment of this, going through the visionary state and then what happened when I met Bill Lieb later and all this stuff. So like, I talked about how I always had like a sense of skepticism, like like when I started realizing, Bill Lieb and my little friend are the same person. What if I contact them? I had all the skepticism, like, what if it doesn't work out? So I already thought all that stuff, and not only that, but like another thing I wanted to point out, I feel like, well, maybe the beauty in it is like it's something where like if I hadn't gone out of my way to find this person, then I wouldn't know that I like them or that I love them or anything like that. So I wouldn't know how I would be able to feel about them later. Whether that matters or not, I don't know. So that's where you got to ask yourself, how do you know if you love someone or not? And, what good does it do me to think I care about somebody that can't reciprocate? So that's kind of, makes it, I don't know. I guess that's very mentally challenging for me. I guess for anybody to just, I think the easy answer is maybe to just drop it and walk away. But, that's why, I feel like this has just been such a big part of my life, and I've been talking about this so much. I thought it would be fun to also do a video where, I just share more like what I think of the guy. Like, so, in the visionary state, when we were kids, I thought he was a cute kid, maybe the person that should have been my boyfriend. And then when I got older and met him a couple of times, it seemed like, I really couldn't get a full grasp of like who he really is, but at the same time, I felt like this person's like too much of a big shot, to be hanging out with someone like me. I mean, like the 1996, I met them when they were on tour in Denver. I felt like somebody like this couldn't possibly be interested in me because like he, he's, I don't know, they're just too famous, And not only that, I thought he was like a good looking guy. I just thought he was like, like a cute guy. Like this guy's too good for me, kind of thing like that, So that's where I kind of held off. But like just these other things led me to go there again. And it's like, oh, just then I find out, well, the guy's married, this, and this. And then like all these, I don't know, I've seen him with a couple different women where I just feel like if those are the kind of girls he likes, then I'm definitely not the kind of girl he likes. And I just feel like I couldn't possibly see, now that I've been through that, like, okay, now I can see why he wouldn't be interested in someone like me. That's fine. That's okay. And it's like, so I don't know. That's where I just feel like I wish I could have found out sooner. Kind of like when I talk about that opportunity we had to meet and could have resolved everything right then and there. But I think that was kind of how our karma was meant to be. Like somehow this was meant to lead from one thing to the next, because it's not only about myself or this other person or things like that. I feel like there's sort of an overall concept I'm supposed to grasp, that like anybody could use, because like I was saying, I feel like in our music scene, I feel like there's sort of an overall problem where we've lost our sense of purpose, like in our art community. Like I think I picked that up a long time ago, and it feels like it's even getting worse all the time, so we get lost in the art, and we get lost in the tradition, and we forget what it all started for. And so I think when I showed up in Denver, and Denver doesn't, represent every part of the culture, I thought there was like an industrial music scene there because of, Temple of Psychic Youth and all that. And, that's where my dad's friend lived. That, when I got there, he was telling me, it seems like he was sick of the music scene there and moving on to other things. So I was kind of left on my own to like figure it out for myself. And, part of that was going to see Frontline Assembly and everything. And I just felt like, maybe what I was supposed to figure out is, this isn't a really good place for me. Maybe it could have been a good thing, like it wasn't what I was hoping for. But there's a lot of things I was meant to learn from it. But anyways, just because I talk about Bill so much, I thought I'd share a little bit more of my thoughts or whatever. Anyways, I pulled up this video. I really like this video from, let's see, 1989. This is Billy was like, now, got a lot of fog up here. So this is when, I'd have been like 13 or 14 at this time, and me and my dad listened to this a lot. My dad and I started listening to these guys in 87, so he loved it. Every time they put another record out, it just sounded better. Like, Lily was just getting better every time, dude. You can see why my dad would like this, right? I knew my dad. So, kind of my little joke is, this is my dad's techno. My dad's techno, right? So, this is what me and my dad used to listen to together, man. So, let's see here. What do we got here? These guys are inspired by industrial music, but I love what they're doing because generally, you know, more of a musical band. Anyways, let's skip up to some more musical. I don't really know what every point is on here, but let's look here. Anyways, I wanted to say is oh, it's another good one. But no, I mean, I just feel like okay, so I was like 13 going on 14. If me and my dad would have been able to go to the show or see them on tour this year, that would have been one of my best memories for sure. We really loved this band. We listened to them a lot, you know. When I listen to, like, you know, how he's singing and, you know, the stuff he's into, like, this is like, when I say, this is kind of like, my dad was into this more than me at the time. I felt like he was a bigger fan than me at the time. But, you know, my dad was always reading about World War I and II, you know, really interested in those wars. I think there's like this music scene, you know, is also interested in this subject matter. We're like living in post-war times, you know, so I've been kind of wondering, like, if these guys have reincarnated from the wars, you know, like maybe that's where some of the spirit is coming from in this music, say. Like my dad, Bill, and a lot of other people might be veteran souls. But yeah, just think if I was like 13, 14 and somebody's like, Jody, this is your boyfriend, you know. First thing I would think was, well, she's too old. But you know, and another thing, I was thinking, like, this would be a more appropriate friend for my dad, right? I feel like it'd be a better match for him for a friend. That's where I feel like, you know, my thoughts on, you know, how I feel about, you know, marrying someone like that. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm old-fashioned. Maybe I feel like it's, like, inappropriate because it's like, yeah, I see Bill Lieb as an elder, you know? Like, he could be my dad's best friend. Kind of like my dad's best friend, Kelly, you know? I felt like Kelly was like an adopted uncle, you know? And he was the one I wanted to teach me music when I got into Denver. See? You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking, you know, don't call me crazy. When you're such a crazy old... See, Bill Lieb is such a crazy old electronic executioner. No, for the age of 13, 14, like, I liked listening to this music with my dad, but, like, I really didn't really get it all on an intellectual level quite yet, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but you think, you know, like, why would you want to be with a guy like this anyways? Don't you think he's kind of scary, dude? That's the other thing. You know, I'd probably think, I don't know, this guy seems kind of scary, you know, to be Billy or to be my boyfriend, you know? There's something kind of scary about him, but like, but I guess the one thing we got in common is, you know, I really wanted to get like a punk haircut, and I was trying to decide if I should do like a mohawk or undercut. Well, I did a undercut. That's before I really became aware of Bill Lieb, and I think, I always think of Bill Lieb as having the undercut more. Like, I think that's a more suitable punk haircut for him. But in this video, it looks like he kind of has both. Like, he's got the undercut and the mohawk. And when he was younger, he had like, I think he just had like a really big mohawk. I want to get it to something where you can see Bill on it. Here we go. Anyways, yeah, and think about it. I'm like a 13. This is the music I liked when I was in middle school, See, I like this track right here. So this sounds... So for late 80s, this is pretty good techno music, like... There's what they call techno music that came out of Detroit, but I think the best techno music came out of, like, the people that come from industrial music, or what they call post-industrial music. Stuff like this, So it's like, I don't know, it's like techno with noise and rock and roll and dragon vocals. So, and there's like the thing I like about this music scene is all the bands were a little bit different. Like I was saying, Front 242. Like they almost have the same idea even, and still, these are like two different bands. Even though they're almost the same by the name and all that electronic industrial. So I don't know. I just think, as an artist, this dude, see, when Bill Lieb likes to do a twirl once in a while, but back in the old days, he used to have to like hand the microphone around the back, not to trip over the cord. Anyways, Bill Lieb, I think he's super original. Like the thing about his music is like it's not just like, a set of lyrics, like, melody, harmony. It's also like how he, he likes his sounds, the way he sets up his palettes, like, his bass line, everything in his song, like, it's all to his taste, so like, I think I was playing a noise unit, Strategy of Violence, for somebody, and I asked him, have you ever heard anything like that? He's like, well, I've heard music, similar to this, but never anything just like this. Like, there might be stuff out there that's similar, but not just like it. Right? So, I think maybe Bill was indecisive between getting an undercut and a mohawk, but eventually, he just went with the undercut for a long time, So that's kind of how I think of him, like, having the undercut with the dark hair on top. So when I see a Bert and Ernie doll, or those puppets, I can't help thinking Bert looks a little bit like Bill Lieb, right? Anyways, I kind of wanted to show you who I've been talking about all this time, right? So, I think I should do a couple videos like this where we can, listen to some of Bill's music together. But this was like, wow, 1989. If my dad could have seen him on tour, we would have had such a good old time, And so this is somebody I could never possibly fathom would have been like, the person who should be my boyfriend or anything like that, right? So, but I really think, okay, so like, I wanted to say is like, I don't think he's the best band in the world, best artist in the world, but I guess the thing is for me, is the one that I connected with the most through the circumstances, but I feel like the spirit behind the visions is the one that's given me these circumstances, So anyways, I want to look up another thing. Let's see if I can find tactical neural implant. Let's look up tactical neural implant. Now, I think I found one that didn't have commercials on it. I hope. I don't know, dude. See what's in this list here. It was the one with the Japanese on it, man, so I don't know. Alright, I guess we're just gonna have to take our chances. I really hate to have to do this. But, now. Oh no, it's got commercials. Ah! Damn, I really wish I could have found the one without it. But anyways, like 30 years ago, like, I guess 97, what was it, 92 actually. I was in 11th grade, so, in that summer, that's when I had that revelation. Oh man, I think I know Bill Leeper somewhere. And that's the magazine article was about this album. So that's why I thought, well, maybe I should pull this album up because, this was that turning point. I really wanted to share maybe a few snips. Oh, wait a minute. Right, so this is what I'm listening to. I don't want to show all the junk in my kitchen, but listen to that bass line. Ready? Alright, so that's a pretty dope bass line as he comes in. Listen to the way he adds that extra layer and like, oh man, now that bass line is a monster, right? Yeah, so this is the album where I remember when my dad got this, he was like, oh my god, this just gets better. This gets better all the time, you know? And then, and we gotta touch on all these songs, man. So I'm not going to play it all, but I just want to share this album with you because this is what we were listening to when I had that revelation. This is where I'm just like, there's no way I could join Frontline Assembly. Listen to how advanced sounding this is. See, now the thing is like, think about the early 90s, like around that time. Remember all those those movies like Arnold Schwarzenegger, anything that's like future shock and all that stuff. And we were watching a lot of movies like that. So you know, when I listen to music like this, it makes me think of like the future shock. Like this should be the band playing in the bar on these movies we watch, right? So like, I don't know, so it's kind of like fantasy, you know. I feel like some of the music like this, it kind of goes hand in hand. If you like watching those movies, you should like this music, right? Yeah. I don't know where I'm going to land. I really wanted to get to the juicy part. Ooh, it was right back here. Ready? That's the juicy part I was hoping on. That's dope. Let's see here. This is a good one right here. So I'm just gonna play what. So maybe these are the ones that I like more. Now, got a commercial. That's where, you know, and I thought, if this could be the same person as my little boyfriend Billy, like this is way too advanced for me. And this seems to be like the last album he made. Like I felt like Bill Lee was finding himself more and more as an artist, and like I just felt like that was the most authentic. Like Frontline Assembly was just so authentic, and then like the next thing they did was the album Millennium, and actually it's a pretty good album, but that's when you first felt, I guess like me and my dad, and especially my dad, felt like Frontline Assembly was kind of given into the crowd, so to speak. So trying to get people to like them more by fitting in. So anyways, let's listen to the way it starts out. I like the way his song starts out sometimes, like, this is like the chi breath. Like if you do kung fu, you do a few chi breaths before the form starts, you know? It's like, anyways, my little joke has been, we're listening to my dad's techno. My dad really loved this. And a lot of other bands like this. So like the people, like, let me see, my dad was born in 51, Billy 56. So I think people like in that age group, you know, in the 50s, if you're born in the 50s, you're part of the baby boomers, right? So, and some of the best, you know, some of the best players in this music scene have been people born in their 50s, like, you know, Richard Kirk. So my little joke is that this is also boomer techno, right? They made some of the dopest techno. And since then, it's been really hard to replace this quality of dopeness. So I guess we're gonna have to skip up so you can hear the juicy center. See, I love this. Now, Bill was in his like 30s, like that video I showed you, in his early 30s. So my dad was also in his 30s too when this music was coming out. You know, so now like these guys are old farts. Like Bill's in his 60s, my dad's in his 70s, you know. The guy that wrote this music is an old fart now. Listen to how dope that is. Oh my fucking god, this is dope. Right. Oh, dope. Anyways, that is so dope right there. And then like, we'll just take a peek into this song. So they're gonna put a commercial. Yeah, so like, let's see. This was one of my favorite albums when I was in like 11th and 12th grade in high school, and I'm starting to think, hey, I don't know, thinking that I remembered Bill Leap from somewhere. I felt like this was definitely a clue. Like, this is my music, you know. Like, I was getting sick of New Order because they were getting all cheesy on me. Anyways, let's see. I got through that commercial here. I don't want to start off from the beginning. Oh, yeah, here we go. Check this. It's kind of like one of his calmer tracks. I was listening to this album a few months ago because I was thinking about that whole situation 30 years ago. I thought I really should pull this up and listen to it. And I was making this little joke to myself that Bill Leap is like the Wizard of Oz of techno-industrial music. He's real deep and everything, but you know, he's always singing in all these different voices, you know? Yeah, this song seems like, yeah, this is one of those deeper tracks, but yeah, the voices he does, like every song he has a different voice, you know, he sounds like he's so immense, you know? But when you talk to him, like you wouldn't know like this is who he is, like if you didn't know that about him and you met him for the first time. So like going by this, you know, like, but just for the fun of saying, you know, this might be my old boyfriend and all that junk, you know, just for the fun of saying this is supposed to be the same person as Billy. I don't know, I find that kind of intimidating, like the voice and everything. Like if that's what I had to go on, you know, like, whoa, I don't know. So that's why I'm trying to say, you know, like listening to this band didn't make me, you know, fall in love with Bill Leap. It's like, you know, like that's not the way it happened. Otherwise, you know, you might see me, you know, listening to Frontline and something, go, where is this man? I should marry him, you know. But I've listened to a lot of great artists like Bill Leap, you know, that have done a really great job, and You know, I don't think I've even had any dreams or visions about them or anything. You know, I've had a few artists where I've had a couple dreams where I think it's because I listened to them enough. But Bill Lee was the only one like I've seen in all these visions and all this stuff, so it's kind of weird. Like, but that's why I just thought, well, maybe it's because there's some little parallels and stuff. But and then in reality, I guess, you know, I have to admit, if I had a chance to know him, I would definitely love that. I appreciate it if I had the chance. But but it's not for listening to music so much. If anything, it's kind of the other way around. I feel like, you know, this kind of makes me feel like I shouldn't bother him. You know, I shouldn't, you know, go to somebody that's popular, that type of thing. So it's not like that. But my little joke has been that, you know, maybe, you know, I was listening to Frontline and something, I'm like, oh, I have to marry this guy because, like, if his cock is anything like this bass line, you know, right? But not necessarily. Like, I feel like that's kind of the misconception, is that I've maybe listened to this band and then fell in love with the singer, and now I created all these fantasies that go back in time. Like, no, dude, I probably would have never, you know, gone up and talked to him, and then like the, you know, the very first time I met him, I just felt like I can't talk to this guy, you know, like he's like the Wizard of Oz of electronic industrial, you know, like it's really hard to get through to him. But, you know, so that's what I'm trying to figure out, you know, like how exactly to explain, you know, what makes me think I love the person. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's like a sense of familiarity. So like the idea of like showing me somebody at an early age, you know, like, and seeing them as a kid, you know, maybe that was something to, like, you know, to create a sense of bonding, you know, like some people, like, you know, like recent older times before we had all this modernism or whatever, where you meet people online and, you know, however the fuck we do it. In older times, you married somebody you knew growing up, so maybe that was the trick, is making me feel like I knew him growing up and all this. Like the extraterrestrials are trying to like, I don't know, maybe they're trying to play Cupid with us. I don't know, but I've been wanting to like share like what I think of Bill Lieb. You know, like, you know, we're kind of scratching the surface. Like, I know what he does for a living. I kind of know what kind of music he likes, but other than that, you know, I know when you meet him on tour, it's kind of like when you're meeting me at work. You know, I'm not sitting there cussing and pissing and moaning. Then you see me when I'm on my best behavior, right? So you see Billy when he's in customer service mode. So yeah, he seems like a nice guy. You know, I really like to talk to him and stuff like that. But I really don't think that I know Bill. So just for the sense of reality, I don't really know Bill. But you know, even if like, I just feel like no matter how he turns out, I just feel like all he had to do was just like me a lot and want to be my friend, and we're set for life. And you know, I'm saying he can know me for the whole rest of his life if he wanted to, regardless of the finer details. I've never met anyone that I have like a whole lot in common with, like you know, like my friend Rosie and I became really close friends, but you know, we had a different set of commonalities too, you know. But yeah, so I don't know, it's just kind of leaving me out here, you know, like what the hell is this about? Because I guess because I don't feel like I've really made a connection, so I'm just kind of like this loose wire, just trying to figure out where I need to be plugged in at. So anyways, I want to share a little bit more at times. Some of the other music I like by him, maybe, you know, some more stories. So anyways, I just wanted to do a couple of videos to sort of state where my sense of reality is. Like, I'm kind of being bombarded with these weird visionary things, and I've had to work through them all. And it's like, well, I definitely like this person, but I don't understand why, you know, I'm being shoved in the direction of somebody that seems to be, you know, not interested. So that's fine. But I feel like until I find resolve, it's just gonna be like, ah. But anyways, I really hope boy, I'm really having a hard time explaining all this stuff, and I don't want to go back and do another video. But like I really hope that we're gonna find clarity in the long run and understand where I'm coming from. Like, I'm not just crazy, but I feel like crazy things happen to me. Maybe I've had some psychosis-inducing experiences in my life, and at the same time, I'm also stumbling onto like the visionary state experience, and this isn't something that is conventional enough to agree to. But I kind of feel like something spooky's happening. It's kind of like one of these horror movies we like, and it's something where it's really not all my fault, but something that's sort of being bestowed upon me. But then maybe what I do later, I have to take responsibility for something like losing my temper and saying things I didn't need to say. Otherwise, I will be back soon enough to share more of this unfoldment. I'll talk to you soon.